Hey guys, this is Greg from Orange Tree Samples. As you know, I've been working on the update for Evolution Electric Guitar Strawberry, so I just wanted to give you a walkthrough of that, and I can give you an idea of some of the additions and revisions for this sample library. So I'm starting out with the rhythm guitar, and then I'll show you what I've done with the lead guitar afterwards. So first of all, I've added a Strum Pallet engine instead of the original Arpeggiator. Basically, the original library had an arpeggiator with an octave of strum keys, and you'd hold the strum key down and it would trigger a certain pattern with the arpeggiator. Now there are a few problems with that. First of all, you'd either have to be playing or recording in your DAW, so basically you couldn't be stopped in order for it to sync correctly. And then the other thing was to simulate the way guitars are strummed, they're actually strummed across the beat rather than starting on the beat. Basically, you'd have to anticipate the strum keys and the chords, which was a little counterintuitive and a little bit difficult to sequence, because you'd basically have to make everything play a little bit early, like a 16th note to even an 8th note, in order for the notes to happen in the correct time. Otherwise, you'd be missing the first beat of the pattern or something like that. So basically, I've changed that into a Strum Pallet, which will let you create your patterns in real time, on the fly. So there are no pre-made strum patterns, but basically this gives you more flexibility. And I've added a few other features along the way, so I'll show you that right now. You still have an octave of strum keys, but now these are single strums. So right here in this drop down, you can pick the key switch, and then you have the different articulations there for each key, and you can select the direction, and then let me see, here's the speed of the strum, the decay, which actually means that the first string strummed will be strummed louder than the others. And speaking about velocity, while we're on that topic, the velocity of the strum is based on how hard you play the strum key. And then right here is a velocity to speed control. So basically you can make it so the harder you hit the key, the faster the strum is played. And then here is a velocity to limit, which basically affects how many strings are getting strummed, which pertains to these next two controls here. So rather than having basically a low string and a high string, and it'll strum everything in between, we have a starting string, and then you can select how many strings get strummed. So if this is a downstroke and we start on the E string right here, and then we have 6 strings selected, it will strum the low E string and then strum all the way 6 strings past that. So if you want to strum just a single string, you set that to 1. If you want to strum 2 strings, then you set that to 2, just for example. The other thing that I've added is for starting strings, you can even specify the lowest string fretted, which is useful in creating patterns. And then you also have the highest string fretted, and then everything in between, which are the absolute string values. So I'll just I'll show you how that works by creating a few strum keys. So let's see, I'm gonna make it a kind of a medium speed strum, but then I'm gonna use the velocity to affect the speed of the strum. Let's see, I'm gonna just play that strum right there to see how it's going. I'm going to put the decay around there. It'll make it a little more realistic. And we'll have it a full strum, from the E string. And then because it says 6 right there, I've got it set to 6, so it'll strum all the strings. And then I'm going to actually make the velocity affect that limit. So right now, if I'm playing quietly, it'll only trigger the first few strings, and then as I play the note louder, then I get the rest of the strings. Okay, so that sounds pretty good right now. I'm actually gonna play a few chords, and that way you can hear how that sounds. So right now that's just the downstroke, and I'm gonna create the upstroke version of that. So I'm gonna copy the strum, and that's another feature, by the way. I've added copying and pasting to everything, and I'll paste that on C#. And then I'll just change it to an upstroke and make the upstroke start on the high E string. So now when I play that, the C# key switch, it plays a downstroke, and back to the C. That's a, an upstroke on the C sharp, and then a downstroke on the C. So alternating back and forth, we can do that. So I'll play a few chords for you. Okay, it's still a little bit slow, so I'm going to speed it up. I'm going to take the default speed for both of those and put that up to 75. Let's try it now. Okay, so as you can tell, it still needs a little bit of adjusting, but already I've kind of created my own custom strum keys for the Strum Pallet and stuff, so that's how that works. And so in the chord definitions, it's pretty much the same. The chords are going to be scripted so that they'll react faster, which was another issue with the rhythm component. But basically I've added some functions here so you can copy chords, paste them, and you can also transpose them up and down, which makes it a lot easier to create the chords for all the different keys. So anyway, let's see, I think the preferences are pretty much the same. I think the palm muting is actually going to be obsolete because that's just going to get put right here for the actual articulation. So you have your palm mutes and fully muted notes, and so that should make it a little easier. And you have a full octave of strum keys in the Strum Palette, so you'll have plenty of choices, and I'll be sure and include presets with preset mappings for that too. So anyway, that's the rhythm guitar, and now I'll move on to the lead guitar.